I want to look into a little bit more with the filtering aspect of our pivot tables. So far, we've been doing the filtering within the pivot table itself, the filter with the drop-down arrows. We've done the filtering as far as using the filter field area, within the setup of the pivot. But we have a third type as well, and this is what we call a slicer. Uh, if you've watched some of my database, which is I think module number 7 videos, we mention and I demonstrate slicers there. A slicer is a visual filter. All right, so it allows you to allows the user to see what's being filtered. All right, and I'll explain that as we go along here. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to create a pivot table. Start out with a simple one and kind of work it from there. So we'll go back into the insert. We'll go to pivot table. We'll hit OK, and let's just say we'll bring in the order date on the side here. Maybe we'll put the categories. Yeah, we'll do the zones. We'll put the zones up in the columns area. All right, and then we'll go ahead and bring in the total sale, and we'll put that as our summary. So pretty straightforward, looking deal there. Now, one thing, and we talked about this before. You're looking at the dates here. Or at least the years, and of course they have the ability of breaking them down quite a bit. We'll click on one of them, we'll go up into the Analyze, we'll click on the Group Field, and we'll get rid of the months and the quarters, hit OK, and that way it kind of cleans it up a little bit. Now let's say that we want to put a filter on this, and let's say the filter is going to be maybe the rep. All right, now we're going to drag that into the filters area. There it goes up at the top. And if I click on to, let's say, one of them, Adams, all right? Hit OK. Great, okay? Anybody looking at this will say, oh, that must be Adams' sales. He didn't sell to the 4th or 5th territory there, but he had, these are the numbers for each of the years, each of the territories for Adams, right? Now, I mentioned earlier that if we went back up here and chose to be able to select multiple items like that, then we'd be able to choose multiple people, multiple reps in this case, right? So I'll just choose the 3 there. Hit OK. These are the actual numbers for those 3 reps added together in each of these territories over each of the years. Somebody looking at this other than you would say, well, I don't know what I'm looking at because it says rep multiple items. It doesn't really list out and show the reps. And that's the problem. So that's the problem with using that feature. So I'm just going to go back in there and just kind of clear it by putting the check mark in there, and now we're back to seeing everything. Now, so I'm going to get rid of the rep field. I'm just going to kind of pull that out. All right. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the slicer. And the slicer, again, is a filter, and you can have a slicer for any field that you have. So at this point, if I click on to Analyze, go over to Insert Slicer, and I find the one here called Rep, like that, hit OK, there it is, and there's my reps. Now what I can do is I can maybe put this at the bottom here, widen it up like this, right? You'll see why I'm doing this. And then while you're still on it, your slicer tools will come up. And this is where then you can specify how many columns of display you want. Right now we only have 1. If I increase the columns, then I can decrease the height that I'm using, see? So I can almost get away with that one, but maybe what I'll do is I'll just bring that down to that. And then what I can do next is I can click onto it and pull it up like this. Now, what do I have here? Well, right now, anybody looking at this would say, oh, I'm looking at, I guess, everybody in all the territories, right? Well, now, if I click on atoms, I'm going to know that this is atoms because I can see atoms highlighted like that, right? If I hold down my control key, I can choose additional ones. Let's say I want to do Hendrix, Lujak, and Suyama, all right? And all I'm doing there is I'm holding down my control key and clicking, 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 all right? And I get those. Let go of my control key, or let go of the mouse first, let go of the control key, and now those numbers that you're looking at there are what are of these 4 reps, period. I mean, that's pretty cool. So that's a nice little thing, and you can do as many of these as you want. So if you said, well, let's go back to the pivot here, all right? Go back to analyze, click on to insert slicer, all right? Now I've got all these other fields I can choose. So let's say I want to bring in the life cycle. All right, so I'll put a check mark on there, hit OK, and there I've got that. Now, it's up to you where you want to put it, but maybe I'll give it like maybe 3 columns, make it wider, bring this up like that, and I can move it down below if I wanted to. And there we go. Now, here's what happens. I'm going to go ahead and clear out my filter for the rep. So all I have to do is just hit this little red guy here. And now if I click on to biannual, it shows me those sales. And what's also showing me is that all my reps have sold biannuals. If I click on an annual, same thing. Click on a perennial, same thing. See? So it's pretty cool. And then I can go ahead and clear that filter, and there we go. All right. So really kind of a neat little tool there. All right. So to get rid of the slicer, all you really have to do is just click onto it, hit the delete key, click onto it, hit the delete key, they're gone. Now I'm going to modify this, kind of flip it up a little bit. And what I want to put along the top, we're going to keep the zones along the top there, but along the side, I'm going to pull off the order date, all right? And instead, I'm going to bring in the actual product. So I'm going to go and find my common name here, drag that down, and now I can actually see my sales for each of my product just like that. So given what I've got here, let's say that I want to put a filter in for the year, because I don't have year in here, okay? It's all the years, really. So if I were just to go to my order date here and drag that into filters, all right, then I'm going to get this, where I can just pick one of the years, and that's it. If I go with multiples, it's going to tell me multiple, but I'm not going to know what the years are. On the other hand, if I bring in a slicer, so if I go over to Analyze, go over to my Insert Slicer, go over to Order Date, hit OK. So now I've got that, see? Again, I can give it any number of columns I want. Oop, too many. Maybe something like that. Bring this up. There we go. Okay, so now what happens is if I go and I click on to 2022, there we go. If I hold down my control key and hit 2023 and 2024, let go of the control key, let go of the mouse and the control key, then I've got the multiple years. Now the regular filter would have just shown me this, but the slicer shows me this. And by the way, too, before I go any further, you can also kind of dock this up a little bit by going over to the slicer styles here within options and pick different colors that you want for your slicer. It's kind of neat. Now if you want to get rid of it, you just go ahead and hit that, and you've got that taken care of. So now you've cleared out the filter, and that's it, which is the slicer. Now another querying tool, I guess, that we have, filtering tool, other than what I've shown you so far, is if we go over into the Insert tab here, all right, we have in there the timeline. Now you click on the timeline. Oh, let me cancel out of there. Make sure we're in the date itself there, right? Go back to Analyze, and then we hit Insert Timeline. And what it does is it focuses on those fields that are time related. So you're not going to see all your other fields in there, just the ones that are date. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring in our order date. So we'll click onto that, check it, hit OK, and we get this. Now this one kind of requires a little bit of width. You might go as far as maybe going into your pivot here, clicking onto the maybe the first row there, like that. And on your keyboard, you can just hit Control and the plus key and insert some blank rows up there. Maybe one more here. Okay. And then what you can do is then take maybe this here, put up there. I'll give myself a couple more rows there. All right. So bring that up like this. There we go. I can make it pretty wide. Maybe go something like this. So what you're looking at here are each of the years and then broken down by month. All right. Now, what I can do with this is I can actually start from, let's say, January of 2022, hold down my mouse on that, drag it out, and go to June and let go. And now what I'm looking at is the first quarter, actually the first and second quarter, as you see, quarter one and quarter two of 2022. All right, and then if you wanted to clear that out, you just hit the little red X up at the top, just like with the slicers. Now, if you don't need as detailed of a timeline like that, what you can do is you can go into the where it says months right here and choose quarters. All right, and that way you'll see your years and then you'll see your quarters. See? And that way then you can just go ahead and do something like that, and that would give you the first 2 years. Pretty quick, pretty easy. All right. What happens with this thing here, it kind of gets a little awkward here because really we are just looking at 2 years of data, but here it seems to reflect that we're looking at more than that. Even if I hit that little X, it won't matter. So that's maybe a little quirk in there, but other than that, it looks pretty good there. And again, you want to clear this out, you just go ahead and hit your X, closes it out, and that's it. You want to get rid of it, you just click onto it, hit the delete, and off you go. So hopefully this helps you. This is I think a good exercise to see how the different advanced filters work. In this case, we've got the slicer, and we also have the timeline. So hopefully you'll be able to use some of those tools in your own pivot tables. Thanks a lot for watching the video.